Good morning, welcome back to my channel for part 3 of the barn owl tutorial. I'm really sorry, I've got a really bad cold and a cough at the moment, so I do apologise. But I hope you're all doing well and looking forward to part 3. Hopefully we'll get a bit more done this time. So I've just slightly moved my camera to the side this time so that you can see what I'm doing rather than it being right above me. So I hope you can see it clear enough. So we're going to start working around where we put the base layer down here. And yeah, so I will just pick some colours out. So obviously we put the cream 102 cream down as the base layer there. Now I feel like I went in a bit too dark here, but I don't want to fiddle around with it too much. I think I said that in part 2. So I'm just going to leave it as it is, and it's just going to be a bit darker. But I'm just going to try and be a bit more aware of it for the rest of it. So I think I'm going to pick out a few different yellows and browns that might be useful in that area. So I've picked out dark chrome yellow. I think I'm going to take Bista and Nougat or Nugget, and also I think dark Naples yellow as well. And I'm just going to pick a couple of others and then see how I'll go. I think probably brown ochre and raw umber as well. Yeah, I'm going to see how I go with those. Oh, sorry about all the noises. So, excuse me. Right, I've got such a dry throat. Okay, I think I'm going to pick up the raw umber. Actually no, I'm going to mark in I'm going to get the walnut brown and I'm going to mark in the little sort of specks, the little speckles that are in. So I'm just going to mark them out first. Not going to mark them oh god, sorry, I'm not going to mark them too heavy, just so I can sort of see where they are for a bit later on. So I'm then going to grab the raw umber. Oh, I think I'm just going to go and grab a glass of water. I'll be back in a second. Okay, sorry about that. I've had a drink and I have a cough sweet, so yeah, you'll hear that jangling around now, but hopefully I won't be coughing. So yeah, I've got the raw umber, which is number 180, and I'm just going to kind of oh god, sorry, gently blend down from this grey area, just to blend it in slightly. Just going to do really small circular motions. Like I say, something that has, I think I've said this before, so I do apologise. Something that has such a high detail in it, don't send yourself crazy, because you do have to kind of have a bit of artistic license with it and not make it up, but you just don't freak yourself out about having to include every little minor detail, because at the end of the day the eye can't pick everything up anyway. So as long as you've got like the main sort of detail there, that's all that matters really. So I think I can't quite decide which colour to go for here. Okay, so I think I'm going to use one that I have from the Caran d'Ache Luminance range, which is called Brown Ochre 10%. So I think I'm just going to put a bit of that down first. I'm just going over the top of the raw umber that I've just put down too, just to try and blend it in a little bit really. Again, just small circular motions with the flat side of the pencil. And then I'm just going to get my my Tombow mono eraser. I'm just going to remove around here because actually it's quite bright where the light's reflecting off of here. So through here as well. Then I'm going to get the Naples yellow and just where I put the raw umber, just go over it a bit to make it stand out a little bit more, but also kind of soften it at the same time. And then sort of between some of the marks, it's almost like the yellow's been laid down kind of between them. And then I'm going to get the raw umber again. Excuse me. Just slightly blend up here. So I think I spoke to you last time, excuse me, about my workshops that I'd started doing. And they've been going really, really well. I just did my second one last week, and I've got 2 more in the diary. I've got a fur and feather one, which I'm really looking forward to. So that's back at the shop in Melton Mowbray called A Little Less Waste. If you want details of that, that's over on my website under the workshop tab. And then I've also got thought I'd do something a little bit different. I've got a date on the 1st of April. And I thought sort of, you know, spring starting, so I thought I'd do a bluebell workshop. So I found a photo, beautiful bluebell photo that we'll use. Yeah, so that's at the Three Crowns pub in Wineswold in Leicestershire, if you're local. Again, it's all the details and ticket info is all on my website. Yeah, so if you're local, it would be great to see you there. If you, well, whether you're local or not, if you've got any venues that you'd like me to come and hold a workshop at, I am happy to travel. Yeah, do get in touch. It'd be lovely to spread the wings a little bit. So this is the beige red with the old sets. It used to be called Light Flesh. Excuse me. So if you've got an old set and you can't find beige red, that's why. It's the same number, 182. Yeah. Right, I think I'm actually going to use warm grey 1 for the base layer down here first, and then I will go over with either cream or I don't know. Do I want to go in with warm grey 1 or should I go in with ivory? You know what, I'm going to change that, sorry. I'm going to go in with the ivory. I just feel like warm grey actually may dull it a little bit. So I'm just going to start down here. Now I'm not really going to, because the graphite's quite faded here and I've put it in quite lightly. Obviously the graphites of the marks that I'm going to be making darker anyway, so I'm going to leave those in. So I can see what I'm doing. So I'm just gently, circular motions, just going to lay down and make sure this is the right colour choice, which I think it will be. I do try and avoid using my hand actually too. Just sometimes forget to wipe away any little. I usually use a soft brush, just like this one, just if you get any bits on the page. Yeah, I think this is definitely better than the warm grey 1. It's actually, so far, it's actually been trickier picking out the colours on this than I expected. I think it's one of those until you kind of sit and really, you know, until you have to pick your colours out, you don't actually realise how tricky it is. So I'm going a bit heavier now because that's definitely the right choice, right choice of colour. to get the cream. Need to sharpen it a bit. I can't remember if I've told you, I usually use the KUM Masterpiece sharpener, but I ordered this, I don't know if it'll focus, this Faber Castell sharpener when I was just purchasing a few extra bits from one of my workshops, and it's actually really good. Yes, that's another one I would definitely recommend. So I'm just going to go I'm just going to blend the bit I've already done up here, just blend that down a little. So this is the cream. And then I'm just going to go around the bottom edge here. Excuse me. Probably wasn't the best idea trying to film this with a cold, but never mind. Okay, and then I think I'm going to go in with the... I'm going to go with the raw umber again. I'm just kind of gently, excuse me, gently kind of going up where the little marks are going to be. Just kind of want a hint of this colour. And then I'm just going to go a bit dark around here again, just slowly building it up. It's actually quite dark here, so I'm just going to put a bit more down here. As you can see, with colour pencil it takes a while for things to come together. Yeah, they really go through like an ugly stage. I was talking to the people at my workshop about this, because people that have never drawn before, you know, come along and start to do it and go, oh, you know, it's not looking very good, I can't do it. But I just keep saying, look, just trust the process, because I think I've lost count of how many times I've said that on these videos, but you really must, because you've got to realise that you're working with a slow medium and that it's not going to happen, you know, in a click of a finger. You really have just got to be patient. And these little bits, these little things that you're doing that you don't think will be making much difference will actually be making the most difference, because it's all about building it up. And those bases will, base colours, base layers and everything will come out. So yeah, top tip, trust the process. And then it's a bit darker. Kind of got some darkness between these two marker lines. Okay, and then I'm going to actually get the nougat and excuse me, just put a hint around here. Really excited to finish this. I know we're a long way off, but I just love owls so much. Oh, excuse me. I'm so sorry. I feel like there's sort of a hint of the nougat coming out of here, just slightly. I'm just going to put a whisper along. Up here as well. See, one thing you've also got to remember, I was talking about the detail earlier, you've got to remember you aren't creating a photo. Although you're creating realistic art, and you are trying to get it as realistic as you can, you know, it isn't going to be an identical photo. I think that's really important to remember. So get the ivory just to soften. Nougat again, and you just want to be kind of looking at any darker areas that are standing out to you a little bit. So I'm just going to get the brown ochre, and I'm just going to blend up from some of these areas here. I'm just going to get my Tombow eraser, because actually I've gone a bit too dark on that bit, although there is a hint of the nougat colour. It is a real hint. Let's get the ivory again. It's just started raining. It sounds and looks so horrible and cold and just miserable out there. Excuse me. So yeah, the brown ochre again. Just a really light pressure doing this as well. Just like I say, so you just get that hint of colour. I just feel like it looks a bit more natural. I'm just going to soften these areas off a little bit, and then I'll put some of the detail in. We can always come back to adding some of the colour in once the detail's in. I think it'll be a bit easier to see that. Okay, so I think I'm just going to add some of the marks in. I'm going to use the nougat to put them in initially, and then go in with a different colour. So I'm just going to go back over these ones I did a little earlier. Some of them have almost got like a bit of a connecting line between them. Just going to sort of blur them together. Some are much darker than others, so I thought if I go in with the nougat first, and then obviously I can use a darker colour to make the darker ones darker. Excuse me. There always seems to be so much noise going off when I'm trying to film. There's always roadworks or lorries or something going off outside. Anyway, never mind. Okay, and then think I'm going to get the dark sepia. I'm just going to sharpen it slightly. Just got covered in sharpenings. Right, so just going to kind of randomly do the darker ones so I don't go mad. I think this is going to start to kind of make it feel a bit realistic. Putting these bits in now. So you can't actually really see like the individual feathers as such on this bit. It's so smooth, but there are like the odd marks like that I've just put in, just yeah. This dark sepia is just one of the best colours you can have in your set. It's like a real kind of browny black. Yeah, just a bit softer than a black, so it's definitely handy to have. Actually, I'm just going to get the cream just to soften that mark off there. Excuse me. Just going to put a bit more of the cream through here as well. Oh dear, I'm so sorry. Excuse me. So there's almost like a little bit of a excuse me, darker outline on some of the little shapes, which I think will help with the realistic effect as well. So I'm just going to add a few of those in. just going to grab the raw umber again. Actually, I've decided I've gone in too dark there as well on that little mark that I said was there. Back to the mark making. I'm just going to get the Naples yellow and just blend up between some of these marks a little bit. Excuse me. Sorry, I think I just kicked the tripod then. I think some of the marks up here I think I'm going to do with a bit of the walnut brown. I think I'm just going to, because there's sort of a bit of a connection from here to here, so I think I'm just going to put a bit of the cream in. And then the dark Naples yellow. Nougat. I'm just going to grab the ivory just to blend these areas in slightly. Oh dear, I'm so sorry about this. Right. Just using a really light pressure here. To add a hint over here. Then we'll grab the walnut brown again. Like I say, just to make a couple of the marks with that rather than the dark sepia. Okay, so just got the nougat and I'm just going to kind of blur a bit round some of these marks. Just to sort of soften them off a little bit. Okay, so you know, I think I'm just going to get the dark sepia again because I feel like there's excuse me, one or two of these marks, they're actually quite a lot darker. And then I think, yeah, I'm going to stick with the dark sepia. Excuse me, I'm just going to sharpen it slightly. And then the darker bit that's just round here, I'm just going to start to put that in. So I'm just going to gently put the lines in first, and then I'll fill the colour in after. I hope this is in focus, by the way. I'll try and have a proper look in a minute. Okay. So I'm just going to put a real light base layer of the dark sepia down in these little areas, and then I'm going to go in with a brown, probably like a walnut brown or the Van Dyke brown. The walnut brown's a bit of a warmer brown. So before I go any further, I'll just try it out and make sure it's the right choice. This is the walnut brown. I'm just going to go around the edge with the dark sepia, just to add that definition to the shape. I'm actually going to go in with the nougat here, and then go over with the darker. This one's a slightly lighter shape. The dark sepia around the edge again. And then above these marks, there's I'm going to get the raw umber, because there's almost like a bit of a hint of colour coming up from it slightly that feels a bit like raw umber. So I'm just going to excuse me, just going to add these little marks in. I'm just going to get a cold grey. This is just cold grey 4, 5. Just feels like there's a bit in here. So yeah, dark sepia again. And then the walnut brown over the top. And then the dark sepia just to go around the edge again. Excuse me. And there's just a very, under here, very, very slight marking of raw amber. And from here, like the slightest hint of it. So I'm honestly doing the lightest pressure I can, so there's barely any on the paper, to be honest. Okay, so I'm just going to sharpen the dark sepia. Just because the shapes are obviously a lot smaller down here, so I want to make sure I don't end up making them bigger. I'm just going to do the same, so dark sepia as sort of a light base, walnut brown, and then dark sepia again. Ooh. You have to be careful when it's really sharp that you don't, if you press too hard obviously it's just going to break. And then I'm going to dark sepia around the edge here, but because it's, okay, sorry, my battery just needed changing. So I'm not sure how much of that cut off, and I might be at a slightly different angle now. I've tried to get it back exactly the same. I've just zoomed out very, very slightly just whilst I do round the edge here. I'm just going to soften that line just there because it just isn't quite as harsh as I've actually done it there, so it's really, really slightly blend up from it and it just softens it off slightly. I think I'm just going to do the same all the way along actually. Just makes it feel a bit more natural. Now around here it actually feels a little browner, so I'm going to go in with the walnut brown rather than the dark sepia, and then I'm going to go over the top with the dark sepia just on the edges. then I'm going to grab the warm grey too. I'm just going to sharpen it. Excuse me, I'm just going to have to get some water. Oh, right. Okay. So from about here, I'm just going to blend up with the warm grey too. I've got a song stuck in my head and I can't stop singing it in my head. Okay. Excuse me. Okay, and then there's a colour called green gold, which is actually like a, I don't even know, like a darker mustardy yellow actually, so I don't know why it's called green gold, but I just feel like there's a hint of that colour just here. And then I'm going to get warm grey 3. And there's a couple of sort of funny little marks just up here. I'm just going to look at adding those in. Okay, so I'm quite pleased with that. So I'm just going to get the warm grey too and just in this area just kind of blend down a bit. It's almost a shadow. Well, it is a shadow. So I'm just going to take the graphite line out, and just up here as well, just so you can't see. Just small. Okay, we'll try again. Sorry, the card was full then, so I've just had to change that as well. Hopefully we won't have any more interruptions. Okay, so I'm just going to get the ivory and I'm just going to blend up from these bits here slightly. I'm just going to go over here just to add like a ivory vibe to this. Okay, so around here, I'm just going to remove that line actually. I'm just going to bring the ivory around here. Actually, I'm going to remove a bit more. I'm going to remove the outline here. I'm not going to remove the, I'm just going to slightly remove the dots, the marks actually. Because like I said before, we kind of do want to see those actually. So, with my ivory, I'm going to go down this side here to about here, and then under here to this line here, and then basically from there all in here wants to be ivory. So I'm going to leave a very slight gap between the graphite line there and down here, and then I'll rub that out after. And then I'm just going to go up and round it. I will remove it there actually. It's really hard sometimes because obviously you need to remove it, but you can sometimes remove it too much and then lose where you're going. Okay, and then I'm basically going to just fill in this whole area here. So kind of a medium pressure, circular motions with the flat edge. a little patch that's lighter there, so I'm just going to miss, almost like a little triangle, so I'm just going to miss that bit out, and then not going as heavy up here, so that it all blends nicely. Just realised I don't think you can see that, can you? I'm just going to move the camera. Okay, so yeah, I don't know if you saw that, sorry about that, but yeah, lighter little area here, just a bit of a triangle, so I've just avoided that down to this graphite line here, and then lighter at the top here, just so it blends well. Right, and then I think I'm gonna go I can't decide what colour. Do I go raw umber or brown ochre? Brown ochre I'm going to go for. So I'm just going to slightly go around the edges first. Again, on this area you can't see the individual feathers. Excuse me. So you can just sort of see the odd line. So I'm just going to concentrate on the colour to begin with, and then I can add in any little lines that I can see. It's a bit darker around here. I'm going to use this colour all over this area and then just put in the darker bits where they're needed. Excuse me. And then round here is quite dark. I hope that's looking okay. Definitely darker here. Excuse me. And then up here, a bit darker as well. Darker down here again. Then I'm going to get the nougat for just this area here, sort of a hint of it. and then just blend it down from it. Okay, I'm going to get the cream, and I'm just going to go over probably most of it actually, kind of soften it off with that hint of yellow. And then we'll put some of the marks in once I've done this. It just blends it down, smooths it down quite nicely actually. I wouldn't normally really do this, but yeah, it's working well on here. I'm just going to grab the warm grey one, and then up here excuse me. Sorry. Okay, so I think what we'll do now is pop a couple of the marks in. Sorry, this is just the nougats again. We'll sort this bit here out in a minute. Just get these marks down first. Okay, and then I'm going to grab the dark sepia, I think. Yeah, dark sepia. Excuse me. Okay, and then I'm going to get the walnut brown. I'm just going to blend down from some of them. Sort of picking them randomly, really. Okay, I've got my dark sepia again. And just, there's a couple that actually look more triangular, a couple of these shapes. I'm just going to make them a bit more sort of okay. Now I'm just going to grab the green gold that I told you about earlier. I'm just going to add a hint of it between some of these markings. Just a light pressure. And the raw umber again. I'm just doing kind of fur strokes for this, sort of fur feather strokes for this bit, because you can see the odd bit of definition of where, sort of which direction the fur's going in, sorry, feathers going in. So used to saying fur. Okay, sorry, it just cut off because it had reached the maximum recording time, so I do apologise if you missed the last bit of that. But yeah, basically, if you didn't catch it, I've just got the raw umber and I'm just kind of going in the direction the feathers. Okay, so I'm just going to zoom out. Okay, so I'm really pleased with how that's coming along. I'm going to leave it there for part 3. Do let me know if you've got any questions, or comment below, or drop me a message. Yeah, but I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you're getting on well with it. And I'll see you for part 4. Thanks for joining me. If you have enjoyed it, if you could please subscribe, like and share, I'd really appreciate it. That would really help me out. And hope to see you in part 4. Thank you, bye.